Hello there. This lecture is related to realism in the prologue to the Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer. First, I have given here two definitions of realism. The first definition defines realism as realism represents reality by portraying mundane, everyday experiences as they are in real life. It depicts familiar people, places, and stories, primarily about the middle and lower classes of the society. The second definition defines realism as there is not artificial, pompous display, but a strict parsimony of the poor's material, like the rude simplicity of the age in which he lived. Now, next, there are some of the basic points which I have gathered about realism in the prologue to the Canterbury Tales. I hope that it would help you in understanding realism in relation to the prologue or to the Canterbury Tales. The first basic point is that Joseph presents here the exact picture of average humanity. As we know that the writers before him, they were busy in weaving stories or they were just describing a very unrealistic world, but Joseph kept away from all this type of unrealistic world. He describes the exact picture of average humanity, men and women as they were in the real life. He presents them truthfully without any kind of exaggeration. The second point is he painted life as he saw it, and he saw it with such an observant eye that it seems that he was viewing all the events and the characters through a kaleidoscope. The third point is he describes and presents the minute peculiarities of human nature. As we know that Chaucer was a man of his world and he mixes with all type of men and women, so it was easy for him to describe the peculiarities of human nature. In doing so, he not only describes aspects of his age, but as well as the people with all the details of their appearance, sex, profession, conduct, attire, age, education, cultures, and language. The next point is that the setting in the prologue to the Canterbury Tales or in the Canterbury Tales is quite realistic. Because a pilgrimage was one of the common sight of the 14th century England. And in relation to the stories, he does not create a very unrealistic type of world, but his setting is very realistic. And in doing so, he was quite different from the other writers like Boccaccio because he could easily slip back into the frank artificiality while describing the settings or the stories of his characters. But here, Chaucer held consistently to realism in the Canterbury Tales. The next point is Chaucer paints what he sees. And as we know that he was gifted, he was blessed with acute power of observation, he presents things as they were in that time. And in doing so, he never mixes the tint of his own likes, dislikes, views, prejudice for whatever he was painting or describing to us. The second last point is that Chaucer's characters were very lively and lucid. They were the simple men and women as were in that time. And Chaucer describes them as he saw them during his traveling or his journey. The next last point is that Chaucer describes the religious state of his time. And this was a very realistic aspect of his prologue or to the Canterbury Tales. Because there were so many characters like monk, friar, partner, summoners, they had forgotten the rules of the church or of the labor and poverty. They were living their secular lives. For example, if we take the example of monk, the monk was a fat man who was more interested in the breeding of greyhounds and horses. He had no interest in the performance of his duties. So this point is also related to the realism in the prologue to the Canterbury Tales. I hope that these were some of the basic points that had helped you in understanding the realism in the prologue to the Canterbury Tales. So thanks a lot.